This video is about functions and solving functions. In previous videos, we were given functions with an input and we had to work out an output. However, sometimes we'll be given the answer or the output and asked to find the input. In these situations, we are solving the function or solving an equation. An example might look like this. I'm told that the function is f of x equals 3x minus 2, and I want to solve f of x equals 7. So what does this really mean? It means that I want to find out the value of x. What input x do I need to get the output 7? Notice that 3x minus 2 is the function, and I'm told that this function f of x comes out as 7. So I can let the function 3x minus 2 equal 7. And now I've got a very simple situation where I simply have to solve the equation. So 3x equals 7 plus 2, which is 9, and I can divide by 3 to get a result of 3. I can even check my answer to see if I'm correct. I can evaluate f of 3 and see, do I get 7? So 3 times 3 minus 2 equals 7, so I know I'm correct. Here's a very similar type of example. I'm told the function g of x equals x minus 5. Don't let the g put you off. It's just the same idea as f of x, just with a different name. And I want to solve g of k equals to 8. So remember that when I'm being asked to solve, I'm being given the output and I want to find the input. And if I look at this question, I can see that my input in this case was k. So my answer at the end of this should be k equals to. Okay, so if my input is k, then I can evaluate, well, maybe not evaluate, but I can simplify g of k to give me k minus 5. Notice that I'm just replacing the x in the function with my input k. So g of k is k minus 5, and g of k equals to 8. So I can let these two things be equal. So k minus 5 equals to 8, and then I simply want to find k. So k equals 8 plus 5, so k equals to 13. Again, I can double check this to see if I'm correct. I can evaluate g of 13, so 13 minus 5, which gives an output of 8, as shown in the question. So 13 is a correct answer. Here's another example. In this example, h of x equals x squared plus 3x. I want to solve h of x equals minus 2. So again, I'm solving. So I'm told the output, and I want the input. And this time the input has just been called x. So I want to find x as my solution. So my function is called h of x, and my output is also been called h of x. So I can let these two things be equal. And you might recognize that this looks a bit like a quadratic because, in fact, it is a quadratic. So I need to get it equals to 0 before I can begin to solve for x. So x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0 is what I'm dealing with. So now what do I do with a quadratic? Well, I have to factorize it and I have to solve it. There's a few different ways to factorize this quadratic. You might use your guide number, you might use the array. I'm going to show you how to use the array to figure this out. So first of all, it's a quadratic, so I put 4 boxes. And I fill the first and last terms of my quadratic into the first and last boxes of my array. Now I want to factorize each of these. So what by what gives me x squared? Okay, that's going to be x by x. So the terms on the outside multiply to give the term on the inside. What can I factorize plus 2 as? I can factorize it as plus 2 by plus 1. Now I can fill in these boxes in the array. Plus 1x plus 2x, and I'd like to have a look at those terms on the diagonal. Plus 1x and plus 2x, when I add them together, they give me the plus 3x from my quadratic. So I have factorized my quadratic correctly. The factors of my quadratic are x plus 1 by x plus 2. If you normally use the guide number method, please don't go changing now and do that yourself. You should get the same factors. X plus 2 by x plus 1 equals 0. I need to let each factor equal to 0, and then I can solve for x. In this case, because it's a quadratic, of course, I get two solutions. X equals minus 2, x equals minus 1. Don't forget, I can still check these solutions. I'll just take them one at a time.